feels nice. I like it warm. My mother.
Roger says it's too warm, and Sylvia tells me it's too cold.
Well,
And I'm trying my
can't
best
please,
to
can't
make them
please
both
everybody.
happy, but you know I can't make them both
Yeah,
happy.
you can't.
Can't please everybody.
No, you can't. My mother keeps the house really cold. Always.
Darren said he has his house at like 58 or something like that.
Yeah, my mother has it something like that. Not quite that cold, but my mother does have it pretty cold. And
Darren, don't ever invite me over your house in the winter.
It's like, I don't remember being, I've been to his house, and I don't remember being that cold. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, my goodness. How are things going? Have you heard from any firefighters out in LA?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
No.
it's crazy.
You know, I just don't understand, like, there was so much talk about the forest management and about, cutting down things that are dead and clearing brush and, the ways you can get ahead of, like, if you have even a sense there could be a fire, you can cut a nice path so that it can't spread, and like, there's all sorts of things that can be done, and it just seems like nobody wanted to do that, and it's been years,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know much about. That all makes
I mean, it
sense.
seems like some of it is, I'm not gonna say and tell you all of it is avoidable, because when you have a fire and you have 100-mile-an-hour winds, you've got no control at all. They couldn't even put the planes up to drop the water because it's too windy,
Yeah,
so,
that's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's, I had a friend, the synagogue that burned in Pasadena, a good friend of mine, they're doing a rabbi search right now, and he was supposed to go out there to interview, next week or something, I don't know but it's like, it's crazy. Roger was out there all week, actually.
Oh, wow. It's horrible.
It's hard,
It's not like you lost your house, it's like, it would be like all Pelham Manor is gone.
yeah, it's
Right? Like imagine all Pelham Manor is just, how do you?
it's crazy.
And a lot of those people, they didn't have insurance. Because
I mean-
insurance companies wouldn't
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, and they're like, bigger area. How many acres is Pelham Manor?
it would be like all of Westchester, and then some. It's a huge area.
How many acres is Pelham Manor? I don't,
Nothing, but not
the fires
Pelham
are
Manor is
like,
like 1 square mile.
the fires are like, well, I don't know, what is an acre? The fires are like 14,000 acres. I don't really have a sense of what that is. I mean,
One of them, the bigger one, is like a little bigger than like Manhattan, I think.
like Manhattan? That's crazy. That's so crazy. All right. What's that?
Just us?
I guess
So
it's just
far.
that. There people will come. All right. We're on page 14 or 46. Yedid nefesh avarachaman mishoch avdach eretzonach yarot avdach emohayo ishtachavel mol hadarach yerav lo yedidutach mino fetzu v'chol tam Adonai eziv haolam nafshi chol adavatach Hana elna revanala veharolano hamzivach asdid chazeng bedid rabeh behayetala Atik Yemora Chamecha Vechusna Al Benovach Ki Zekama Nichsav Nichsav Lirav Tiferet Uzach Ana Eli Machmad Levi Choshana Ve'al Didala Vigalena Uvros Chaviv Alai Etzukad Shelomach Tahir Eretz Mikevonach Nagila Benis Mechamach Ma'eraugi Mamoed Bechoneini Kimeolam 15 or 48 Lechu Niranin al Adonai Narial Etzor Yishenu Nekad Mafanav Betoda Vizmiron Arialo Arba'im Shana Good Vedor Va'am Toyel Babem Vehem Lo Yadu Dirachar Asher Nishbati Be'apim Yavon El Menuchati Shiru Ladonai Shir Chada Shiru Ladonai Golares Shiru Ladonai Marchu Shemo Masru Meyom Leyom Yeshuato Sapru Vagoy Magevodo Echol Hamim Nivleotav King Adol Adonai Omul Almeor Norao Al Kol Elohim Ay 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 Kol Elohe Ha'avim Elilim Badonai Shamayim Asam Hod Behadar Lefanav Oz V'Tiferet B'Mikdasho Avol Adonai Mishpechot Avim Avol Adonai Gavod Ba'oz Avol Adonai Kevod Shemo Sehu Mincha Uval Chazrodai Ishtachavu Ladonai Beharat Kodesh Chilu Mipanav Kol Haaretz Imru Vagoyim Adonai Malach Abdi Kotev Elamal Dimot Yadin Amim B'Meisharim Yismechu Hashamayim B'Dagel Haaretz Yiramayam Ulo Yalo Sadai Bechol Asher Bo Aziranenu Kol Aseyah Lifnei Adonai Kiva Lishpot Haaretz Yishpot Tevel Betzedek Ve'amim Behem Unnato Ay 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 page 17 or 51. Shama vatismach Zion vatagelna b'non Yehuda leman mishpatecha Adonai ki ata Adonai Elyon al-Gol haaretz mi'on aled al-Gol Elohim ohavei Adonai sinura shomer nafshot chasidav mi'arushaim yatzilem or zaru ala tzadik u'lishrei lev simcha simchu tzadikim b'Adonai v'odu lezecher kodsho midbar shel Adonai shel chadash gilgul zachar chasdav לפני אדוני קיבה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט הבל בצדק, ועמים במישרים. אדוני מלך ירגזו עמים. 53 or 19. Moshe ואהרון בכהניו, ושמואל בקוראי שמו. קוראים אל אדוני והוא יענם ועמוד ענן ידבר עליהם שמרו עדותיו וחוק נתן עמו אדוני אלוהינו אתה ניתם אל נושא היית להם ונוקם על עלילותם רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו לאור קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. Please rise. 20 or 54. מזמור לדוד הבו לאדוני בני אלים הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו ישתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש כל אדוני על המים אל הכבוד ירים אדוני על מים רבים כל אדוני בכוח כל אדוני בהדר כל אדוני שובר ארזים וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון וסריון כמו בין הרעמים כל אדוני חוצב לבוטש כל אדוני יאכיל מדבר יאכיל אדוני מדבר קדש כל אדוני חולל איילות ויחשוף ובהיכלו כולו מרכבות אדוני עליו ישב וישב אדוני מלך לעולם אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום Hanna bekoach Gedulat yemincha Tatir serura kaberin adamcha Sagavenu tarenu nora Hanna bekoach Gedulat yemincha Tatir serura Kaberina darina damicha Sagavenu darenu nora Ambabalai Hey yada 21 or 56 Lecha dodi likrat kala yada Bnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala yada Bnei Shabbat nekabela Shamor mezachor medibor echad Hishmi yanu elam yuchad Adonai echadu Shmo echad L'shem ultiferet ve'letila Lecha dodi likrat kala yada Bnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala yada Bnei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lecho v'nelcha Ki mekor haberacha Ve'rosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila Lecha dodi likrat kala yada Bnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala yada Bnei Shabbat nekabela Mikdash melech ir melucha Kol mitzei mitocha hafecha Rav lach shevet be'emek habacha V'hu yachamol alaychem la Lecha dodi likrat kala yada Bnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala yada Bnei Shabbat nekabela Nari meyafar kumi Liv shibigdei tifartecha mi Al yad ben ishai ben halachmi Kor vel nafshi el nafshi gehala Lecha dodi Ligrat kala Bnei Shabbat nekabela Hidorere giva ore kumi uri shir daberi Gimfod Adonai alayich nigla lecha dodi Ligrat kala Bnei Shabbat nekabela Lo devoshi v'lo digalmi Madi shochachi umatemi Bach yechesu anye yami V'nibni ta'ir al tila Lecha dodi Ligrat kala Bnei Shabbat nekabela V'hayolim shisa shosayich V'rachaku kol mevalayich Yasis alayich Elohayich Kimsos chatan al kala Lecha dodi Ligrat kala Bnei Shabbat nekabela Yaminu small Tivrotzi v'yed Adonai daritzi Al yarish ben par artzi v'ni smecha v'nagila lecha dodi hayele rad kala pe shaman kabela boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha u'tzala toch emunei hamsegula boi chala lecha doni ligrad gala b'nei shaman kabela Mizmor shir liyom Shabbat. Magadlu masechaya meora mekumach shivotecha Magadlu masechaya meora mekumach shivotecha Oh, you know, Mesema, the Shani Meradanimu, Lagid Ki Ashar Adonai, Suri Velovla Tabo, Adonai Malach, Geut Lavesh. Mikolod Ma'im Rabim Adirim Mishbeream Mikolod Ma'im Rabim Adirim Mishbeream Hadir Bamarom Hadir Bamarom Hadir Bamarom Adonai Hadir Bamarom Hadir Bamarom Hadir Bamarom Adonai Dotechanumod Levet Chana Bakodesh Shana Leorech Yamim. This week we observe the Artzeiten of Didi Moshe, father of Adrian Moshe, Martin Vogelfanger, father of Naomi Jaffe, Ken Schachter, father of Jacqueline Schachter, Marilyn Dvorkin, mother of Michael Dvorkin, George Stein, father of Jackie Stein, Alice Sitchell, aunt of Michael Droller, Dorothy Koblenz, grandmother of Eleanor Dreyfus, Leatrice Borofsky, mother-in-law of Anne Borofsky, Esther Diamant, sister of Gloria Horowitz, Melvin Priggett, father of Andrea Priggett, Ruth Caston, mother of Iris Caston, Diane Geller, mother of Ed Geller, Joseph Y. Lenny, father-in-law of Leah Lenny, and also Michael Mindes, Sophie Cantor, Annie Feinstein, Dr. Henry L. Jaffe, Larry Glicker, William Lowenthal, and William Spielberg, who are memorialized on our board. May their memories and the memories of all those whom we recall be blessings. In lieu of Kaddish, because we don't have a minyan in the building, we can include one of the Shirei Hama'alot on page 251. Shir Hamalot nasati et elecha nasati et enai haishvi b'shamayim hine kene avadim Eliad Adonehem kene shivcha Eliad givirta kene nenu el Adonai Eloheinu ad sheichonenu Chonenu Adonai Chonenu Kirav Savanu Buz Rabat Sovala Nafshenu Halaag Hashananim Habuz Ligeonim. Good Shabbos, everyone. Nice to see all of you. Did you get your Dremel?
I did.
You're good. And there were cookies on top of the Dremel. Okay, good. I don't know what a Dremel is. What is a Dremel? It's a drill? It's a tool. It's a power tool. For dogs' toenails. It's a kind of tool. It's an English word, yeah. No. And I'll share. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
With the spinning, like sanding thing.
It's like an edge tool, so you can use it like to get into corners or to cut. And it has a lot of different attachments.
I don't know what it's for, but I returned one to Jim.
It's for definitely one way to use it.
Is to trim your dog's toenails. I'll share one thought about the Parsha that was actually very moving to me earlier today as I was preparing the Torah reading. And one of the nice things about preparing a Torah reading is it likes you to focus on things that you might not otherwise focus on because you're reading the same verses over and over. And one of the striking things thematically, or one of the striking aspects of the Parsha this week is Yaakov dies. And he, quite vociferously, more than once, enjoins his children not to bury him in Egypt, but that he wants to go back to Marat HaMachpelah, which is the family burial cave. And he insists on this, and the Torah spends many, many verses with his insisting on it, and then with the brothers carrying it out. And then Yosef actually, at the end of his life, says the same thing to his descendants, that they should take his bones out, and they do in Shemot. And there are all kinds of interesting midrashim about that. But this was very moving to me because, so both of my father's grandparents are buried in Israel. And so consequently, I was not at either of their funerals. My grandfather died, my father's parents, yeah. What did I say? Grandparents. My father's parents, my grandparents, my Bubi and Zaidi are both buried in Israel. And so I wasn't at either of their funerals. My grandfather died when I was a child. I was about 10 or 11. And my father, Jewish funerals typically happen very quickly. And so my father flew, by himself with my mother to Israel. And we didn't stay. I think we stayed with my aunt. And he got into the airport. He had this funeral where no one was there pretty much because it was just, they basically made their lives in America. And we have some family in Israel. But so it was this isolated funeral there. But they really wanted to be buried in Israel. They were hardcore Zionists their whole lives. And then when my grandmother died many, many years later, by that point, I'm not sure that she really cared anymore. But that's what she had said, and so she was buried in Israel too. So this was striking to me as I was preparing the Parsha this afternoon, because I remember very clearly still, my whole life, sort of imagining my grandparents' funerals with whom I was close, and like no one was there. And it sort of makes me sad to think about. I think it was hard for my father. But it also has always been hard for me to understand that they cared so much about that. Personally, I'm speaking personally, it's hard for me to imagine caring so much what happens to my body after I die. It really is. I know some people have strong feelings about that, and I get it, but I don't experience it, right? And I haven't given it that much thought. And I assume that if one day I'm so blessed to see my kids grow up, and I'll be buried probably wherever they live, because that's often what happens. But I don't, when I think about it, I don't care so much about it. But as I was reading the Parsha this week, so Yaakov cares a lot about it, and Yosef cares a lot about it, and my grandparents, at least for much of their lives, cared a lot about it. And what was very moving to me, I guess, this afternoon is something that I think the Torah does very often, which is that I think it destabilizes what we think we believe. You know, like I don't think right now that I'll care, for instance, where I'm going to be buried, but maybe I will. Maybe I will. And I think the thing, in addition to providing an occasion for me to think about, yes, Mayur?
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
And just that by making his sons go up to the cave of Machpelah, what was he forcing them to do? Return to the land, right? And
Right.
together, and to do it together.
Right.
That you should do it together and go up. And Joseph's like, you need to bring my bones and like go up.
Right.
As opposed to potentially going to a place that, like, you don't want the bones to stay there because then the people might stay there to be near the bones. That's just my thought. Like,
Yeah, I think that was true for my grandparents too. I think that was part of their calculation probably too.
so my dad said, oh, bury me in this way, and whatever, like 3 weeks before he died, we had a conversation because a friend of ours sick, and we decided we needed to have this conversation. And I said, actually, no, I'm gonna do it because you're dead. And I think you're right, Rabbi. Once you're dead, you're dead. But the people who are mourning you are quite alive and need certain things. And I think that's something that is, sometimes people forget that your dad was alone. That's sad to me.
He wasn't totally alone. I mean, he had my mother, and we have some cousins in Israel too. But he wasn't totally alone. But yeah, no, I think that's true. I think that's all true, and I think that's important. The thing that actually it all made me think about today, though, more so than the specifics of life and death and mourning, was that, you know, here's this thing that I thought I knew about myself, and I think I know about myself, but it's like, maybe I don't. And I think very often one thing that Revelation can do and that approaching sacred text can do is it makes you, it offers itself to your imagination and invites you to maybe be not so certain about the things you think you believe and the things you think you know, and invites you to consider them anew, which is what happens when we read the same stories over and over and over and over again. So, God willing, the Torah can do that for us tomorrow when we hear Yaakov and Yaakov's last words in the coming weeks and months and years. We'll continue with Mariv on page 28. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam. 464. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavir ben yom uben laila Adonai. Tzivot shemo el chai v'kayam, tamim ochaleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hamariv aravim, havadam be'Yisrael. Kem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, ve'em neged yomam v'layla, ve'avatech v'nu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael, el melech neman. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'b'lechtecha b'derech u'b'shochbecha u'b'kumecha u'kshartam leod al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'b'isharecha v'hayim shemot Adonai Elohechem Amen. 32 or 70. Umalchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe uMiriam u'bnei Yisrael lechanu shira v'simcha raba ve'ameru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh Torah tehilot osef le'malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe ze Elianu me'amiru Adonai imloch leo lama helein Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom amideinu Malkeinu Ushmor tzeitenu bo'enu l'chaim shalom me'ata ve'ad olam Ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha Baruch atah Adonai Haborei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim 34:74. Please rise. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית העולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. We continue silently with the Amidah. Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegoali, Vegoali, Ose Shalom Bimromav, Huyase Shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel, ve'imru Amen, ve'imru Amen. We continue with Kiddush on page 49 or 93. Does anyone want to make Kiddush for us? No? All right, I'll do it. Savri, Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri gafen, Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shavat kodsho v'rotzim chilanu, zikaron l'maseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher l'tziat mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta v'yotanu Gidashta Mikol Amim V'Shabbat Godshecha Ve'ahava Overatzon Inchaltanu Baruch Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol Lateit gidula le'yotzer breshit Shelo asanu ki goyei haratzot Velo zamanu ki mishbechot ha'adama Shelo sam chelkeinu kahem Vegor aleinu kechol hamonam V'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shemayim v'yosef Moshe v'kavod Shema Kagadu b'tortech Adonai yimloch le'olam v'hed v'nehemar v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol haaretz Bayom ha'u yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may be seated in lieu of Kaddish again. We can learn a Mishnah because the word Mishnah can be arranged to spell neshama, which means soul. So it's very traditional to learn Mishnayot in people's memory. I also say I've been thinking about my grandfather a lot this afternoon, and he loved Pirkei Avot. He was not particularly he was a learned guy and cared deeply about being Jewish. He was not particularly frum or not always davening, but my dad always told me that he knew Pirkei Avot by heart because he loved it. And all of Pirkei Avot, which is from the Mishnah, is sometimes studied on Shabbat afternoon, and so it's in our Sidurim. And if you turn to page 259, there is a Mishnah which relates actually to the parasha in an interesting way. So one of the interesting details in the parsha is after Yaakov dies, the brothers are worried that Yosef is going to settle the score finally now that dad is dead, which is a reasonable concern. And the brothers go to Joseph and say to him, by the way, before dad died, he said you should forgive us. And of course, what's mysterious about that is that the Torah never tells us that. We never see Yaakov say that, so it's possible the conversation happened. It's possible that the brothers are making it up. But by and large, and this relates to the Mishnah, by and large, even though from a rabbinic perspective we're not supposed to lie, by and large the ancient rabbi's perspective is that keeping the peace, and specifically in that episode and in general, is a value that supersedes the value of absolute truthfulness. Not all the time, but that is, I think, generally the way rabbinic thinking goes. And on page 259 in the Mishnah, we are enjoined, Hillel v'Shammai kiblu mehem. So Hillel and Shammai received a tradition. Hillel Omer, Hevei mitalmidav shel Aharon. You should be like the students of Aharon. Ohev shalom verodef shalom, loving peace and pursuing peace. Ohev et briot korvan la Torah, loving all creatures and bringing them close to Torah. And around that particular midrash, that particular Mishnah, there's another famous midrash about Aharon. What does it really mean that he pursued peace? Well, it meant that there would be two people fighting, and he would go to the first one and say, the guy feels so bad, he just really loves you and wants to be your friend. And then he would go to the other one and say, the other guy feels so bad, he just really loves you and wants to be your friend. Of course, neither of them said that. But then they go and they hug each other and say, I had no idea you loved me so much, and they make peace. And of course, he's lying. But the tradition generally looks kindly upon that. So that's in memory of all of our yahrzeit and all those whom we've lost. This week there's a whole lot going on at PJC in January. This week's Kiddush, first of all, is sponsored by Andrea Priggett and Haig Hovanes in celebration of their son Daniel's birthday. To sponsor future Kiddush, please contact the office. I'm going to be starting to teach a Talmud class this coming Tuesday evening, 7:30 to 8:30 or 9. I know it's short notice. If we please RSVP to the office. If we don't get enough registration for this week, we'll push it off 1 week. But I think we will. Unlike some of my other classes recently, it will have an arc to it, but it's also one that's very easy to just come in at any time or skip a few, and we're just going to be learning Gemara, and we're learning text. And with the question of trying to figure out who were the ancient rabbis. So I think it'll be fascinating, and there's some fun text picks that picked out. We'll have a guest teacher towards the end, my colleague Rabbi Mark Katz, who just wrote a book about the Talmud. Please RSVP to the office if you want to come to that. Tuesday evenings through the winter. MLK Day on January 19th. The Learning Center is coming together, and anyone's invited to come and help pack up hygiene kits and help distribute them for people facing financial difficulties. We have a bin under the table in the hallway, which is now out there, and we're looking for, there's not a list here. We're looking for like shampoo and toothpaste and toothbrushes and kind of thing. The list is out there on the table? Great. So check the list and bring stuff in, and you're welcome to come on January 19th and help pack up the boxes. And thank you to Anna and everyone else who's helping organize that. Hooked on Havdalah is back January 25th from 6 until 8 p.m. Light dinner, a movie and popcorn for the kids, wine and desserts and cheeses for the adults, and live music. There'll be an Israeli musician who's coming, so it should be a wonderful just night to get together and get warm in a cozy PJC and start off the new week in the right way with Havdalah. And there'll be an ice cream party for everyone afterwards with Make Your Own Sundays. And then the following Shabbat on February 1st, the American Legion is going to be joining us to tell the story of the four chaplains, which is a famous story from World War II in which four ecumenical chaplains, one of them a rabbi, gave their lives to help save soldiers on a boat that was sunk by the Germans. On February 3rd, 1943, and the American Legion will come and share about that. It's a wonderful, inspiring story, and thanks to John for helping put that together. Finally, the PJC players are still, not finally, the PJC players are still looking for more people. So if you're interested in that, they said they might have to cancel the play if there's not more people. So if you want to be in the chorus, contact Jeremy or Sari Schulman. And finally, there's a bowling event on February 8th, 2025. Or it might be March 1st. If you're interested in that, contact Tracy Cohen or Larry Cohen. No relation. I mean, everyone knows there's no relation, but you might not know there's no relation. But there's not. They're just both named Cohen. That's it. Shabbat Shalom. What's that? Oh, and tomorrow there's a lot. Oh my gosh. And tomorrow there's a lot going on tomorrow. Tomorrow there's women's group, and there is the kickoff of our campaign for the World Zionist Congress, which is really, really, really important. I'm going to talk all about the World Zionist Congress and what Merkaz is and why we're running this campaign and how you can get involved and why you need to vote. And if you have no idea what the World Zionist Congress is, which a lot of people don't, please come tomorrow and find out. It is really, really important. It's the most important thing you don't know about. I don't know about that, but it's very, very important. So please do consider coming. And also, it's a Shabbat Mishpacha tomorrow, so we should have lots of kids. And Maryut's running a conversation about Ketubot for the women's group, which is fascinating. And now that's it. So it's a great full month at the PJC, and the Learning Center kids are going on a field trip. There's like a lot going on, which is great. They're going to the Anne Frank house. And, if you want to go, you could go. It's in.
No, there's a pop-up in New York.
No, they're not going to Amsterdam. That would be that would be pretty cool. But they're not. There's a pop-up in New York where they recreated it, so there's a lot going on. Okay. No, Amsterdam. That'd be a cool. Amsterdam's a great city. Okay. Yigdal is page 53 or 114. יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח נמצא ואין עד אל מציאותו אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו אין לו דמות הגוף אינו גוף לא נערוך אליו קדושתו קדמו לכל דבר אשר נברא ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר יורה גדולתו ומלכותו שפע נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו לא קם בישראל כמשה עוד נביא ומעביד את אמונתו תורת אמת נתן לעמו אל ינביא ונאמן ביתו לא יחליף האל ולא ימיר דעתו לעולמים לזולתו צופה ויודע סתרנו מעביד לסוף דבר בקדמתו גומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו נותן אל השערה כרשתו ישלח לקץ ימים משיחנו לפתור מחכה קץ ישועתו מתים יחיה אל ברוב חסדו ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו מתים יחיה אל ברוב חסדו ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו. Good Shabbos, everyone. What's that? No, your behavior in shul could be better for 10 years.
It's gonna be better tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not excited for like later today.
So quiet.
This one I think is quite long.
I am Susan. What's your last name? Goldberg. And Barry. Susan Davis, new member.
Welcome.
Barbara, she knows Tracy Cohen.
Good Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbos.
Me too. I was gonna ask you, I was like, oh, maybe today, but I'm like, oh, you just have to because we talked about coffee, and I was like, oh, today would be good, but.
Oh, today would have been good.
Like right before services, but then I thought, oh no, that can't be good for you. You probably.
Right before service doesn't work. Well, it's candle lighting. That's one of the, it's hard to get coffee.
Yeah,
But it looks like right on Shabbat. But I would love to get coffee next. Next week.
Yes.
I'm right. You remind me, email me or whatever. Or I'll try to.
Figure out.
That'd be great.
All right, goodbye. Shabbat
Yeah,
shalom.
Shabbat
Thank you
shalom.
very much. Okay. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, John.
Take care, Rob. See you tomorrow.
I am Susan. What's your name? If I forget.
That's
If
right.
I forget, that's right. You just never forget. Sometimes there are days.
I can figure out now. Yeah. Usually I work.
It might be because of tomorrow.
threat at the rim. And then I thought our wings posting up helped us a lot too, so we didn't settle. And, we can score a lot of different ways. So if something's not going well, just shift a little bit and recognize what's going on. I didn't think anyone was fighting the game. The game was telling us what to do, and I thought everyone read the game extremely well.
The Knicks were on a 3-game losing streak that started a week ago tonight against this Thunder team. Then they lost the following night in Chicago, and they dropped one on Monday here against the Magic, a game in which Towns did not play, but it felt good for Towns and the rest of his teammates to snap that slide.
I think it's great for the Vols, great for the team, great for the city. Every win means a lot, so to get on the right side is good.
And from one soon-to-be All-Star Knicks center to a multiple-time All-Star Knicks center, Patrick Ewing was in the house on Wednesday night, sitting courtside, watching Karl Anthony Towns put on an offensive display, and Towns performing in front of the big fella.
I mean, that's a legend. That's the man who built Mecca. So for me to go over and watch him play, and for him to now watch me play in the Mecca is a humbling experience.
The team as a whole, Monday night, Tom Thibodeau, after the loss to the Magic, commented there was a lack of energy from the Knickerbockers. Well, after Wednesday night's win, Thib said the energy and the effort was much better.
Yeah, and look, we got a great group of guys that and they work at it. So over the course of the season, sometimes you're gonna stumble and you got to get back up and you got to refocus. And we went through a rough stretch on the road and locked into the recovery and do that, and then just find a way to win. And I think that's a big part of growing and learning. And so I thought the first thing is just don't get down, just get more determined. And I think a big part of mental toughness is just having the belief that you can do things better. And if we lock into that, good things will come from it.
It was a tight game in the first half. The Knicks only led by 4 at halftime, 55-51. They opened up a 26-point lead in the second half, but Tom Thibodeau spoke to the team at halftime, obviously up by 4. OG Anunoby had a huge game. What did OG say was the message in the second half?
It's just an emphasis on the players and the coaches just to come out strong and finish the game. Not just like one good quarter, 2 good quarters, like 4 good quarters.
Anunoby tying Karl Anthony Towns with 27 points for the team high on Wednesday night. OG was 4 for 6 from downtown. What does it say that the Knicks were able to put Monday behind them?
I know that we just, resilient group. We always respond and just move on.
Ball movement, a key for the Knicks. They had 24 assists, led by Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson. 7 assists apiece, and Tom Thibodeau said that was very important.
Yeah, and they had good ball pressure, and I thought our cutting really helped. And I think that there were a number of shots that were generated that were really high-quality shots that we missed. And I know if we generate those type of shots, we're going to make. We've proven that we're a great shooting team. So just keep focused on creating those shots, and I think getting some